Okay, so at this point we have the admin panel with user management. Like we can create users, we can manage the role of particular user and give permission. So with that said, now it's time to implement the authorization. Like if any other user with any other role logged into this admin panel, he or she should have limited access. Like she shouldn't be able to manage users. So in this video we'll do that. So in order to do that, our backend setup is already done. We just need to pass that to frontend and implement that on our Vue component. So this admin panel is getting loaded. Just a quick review. So when someone visits admin, it will load index. So admin controller index, which in turn loads the admin.blade. So in admin.blade, we need to pass the authenticated user and his permission and other information like that. So the way we pass it is with the script tag. Here we'll put a script tag and we'll create a user variable which will be the authenticated user, like auth user, something like this. So but we are inside the script, so we also need to JSON encode. So there is a new directive called JSON in Laravel, which you can use inside blade file inside the script tag. So what this will do is this will JSON encode whatever you give here as an array. Alright, so it will JSON encode this array into an object. So just to formatting, so this array will be JSON encoded. Alright, just quickly formatting. Okay, so here we'll pass user, auth user, and also we'll pass the roles of the user. So we get roles with this user roles. Alright, so since we are using this Laravel permission package, we have access to this relation. So also we'll pass permissions, same thing, user permission. So these information will pass to backend. So after we define user, we will assign this to window.user equals to user. Alright, so now we have access to this user in our front end as well from user this window variable. And instead of assigning, we can directly do window.user here, window.user. Alright, so we can get rid of this. Okay, so now let's go back to our resources JS app.js, and here we'll define we'll pass it to Vue variable. So just to check, we'll console log that user here so that we are getting it on our backend, sorry, front end. So console log user object from Vue, and we'll do window.user. Now let's open up, inspect it, and we should see that window object on our console as we refresh this. There we go. So we got all information like permissions. So current user has these permissions. So these permissions are returned as object. So we need to format it a bit in order to check. So roles, user object. So we got necessary information. So now what we'll do is, so we need to do a bit work, right? We need to just return the name of roles. We don't need object for now. So in order to do that, so we want easy way to just check is admin or current user is admin, or it's user, or it's any other role, something like that, so that we can use in our Vue component like easily. All right, so this window.user and doing all the stuff. So for doing that, we'll create a class, JavaScript class, which will handle that. So here inside resources.js, I will create a new JavaScript file named auth.js. So auth.js will be a JavaScript class. I'll name it auth, and we'll create a constructor. So every class will have this constructor which will accept the user object. This dot user equals to user. So after that, we'll also have a roles method inside this. So this will return the just array of names, name of roles. All right, so this will return this dot user dot roles dot will map through roles and will return role dot name. All right, just like that. Similarly, we'll create same thing for permissions. All right, so user dot permission. So like we are passing, this is whole user object, user dot permissions, user dot roles. And now we'll create another one is admin. So what we'll do is we'll check if this dot permissions, this dot roles includes. Alright, so we are checking in this roles array, this will return array. We are checking if this includes admin. This will verify that this will return true or false. So if it returns true, we know that the current logged in user is admin. Similarly, for other roles, you can create like that, or you can directly check from permission if it got permission, like create dashboard or something like that. Okay, so now that we have defined the admin role, okay, here it need to be permission, just naming. So this will return the role if user has role. So you can create another function like can, just like in Laravel. So what it will do is it will check if this has a permission. So permission name. So we'll check if this dot permissions includes this permission name. Alright, so now that we have a necessary function to check if user has certain permission and to check the role of user. Similarly, we can create, so there is a lot of flexibility. You can create any function you want, like you can create has role and just check like if this includes role. So whatever fits your need. For now, I will just check is admin. So if you want finer control, like if you just want a user to view the user management, you can check if this has permission to view user management, something like that. So now that we have this auth class defined, we'll import this into our main file. So let's import that. So import auth from auth. Alright, like so. So now that we have this class, we'll do view prototype, and I'll give this name auth equals to a new auth class. So this constructor accepts the user object window.user. So we pass that. So why I did this is I want in my Vue component to access like this. So auth will access this class, auth class, and then I can call any method on that class, like isAdmin. Okay, like so. Done as well. So make sure this view is already imported, like here. Alright, so now let's go to our admin.view. So here now we can use that easily over here. So this is for user management, this whole list group. So I'll only show this list group v if auth dot is admin. All right, like so, just like that. So if you don't do that, you need to import this class on every component and then call the method. So that is quite tedious since we need auth in every component. So this is the way to do that, just to make that simpler. So we add that to Vue prototype and then like so. So now let's go to browser and let's see. So now only admin can see user management. So current logged in user looks like, oh, we forgot to export this class. So we just created it, but we didn't export it. Export default class. So now that we are exporting this class, so this is available. So that's why this error. Refresh. So now we can see user management. Let me log in with another user, or so these all are admins. So this is the customer. So let's log in with this user, and this user shouldn't see this user management. So I'll open up this in incognito. Alright, so now that we are logged in and we cannot see user management, so this is the user. Yeah, so in admin we just check is admin. So remember we also created a can method. So here you can pass the name of permission. So name of permission is, let me create one permission like Vue user management. So I created this user management and I will assign this Vue user management to admin. Okay, Vue. So now admin has access to Vue management, Vue user management. So all users who are admin should be able to view that. So if auth can view, make sure I defined it right. Yeah, Vue user management. So now I'm checking if a currently logged in user has this permission, so to get final control over that. And if I refresh, so although I'm still admin, I cannot see user management. So why is that so? And let me go to this admin blade. So here we are getting permissions like this permission. So this relationship will only get us the permission that are directly assigned. So what I mean by that is, so if you go to Laravel specific package, so there are two kind of permission. One you can directly assign to user, and one that is inherited from roles. Let me explain that. So it is a bit confusing, but let me try to make it clear to you. So for example, here are list of user, and I will edit some role. I will assign some roles like, let's go to admin web dev. Okay, so here what I will do is, so I will assign some roles from directly here. So if I assign this role directly, it will be the direct permission, like we directly assigned that to user. And there are some permission that are inherited from this role. So since we assign permission to this particular role as well, so these these permissions plus this admin. All right, so that will be the all permissions of the user. So what we need to do is, instead of this just permission, there is a method named get all permissions, I guess. Yeah, so get all permission which apply on user, inherited and direct. So if you find it confusing, you can read it here. So it is it gives a simple example. You can just read it here. So what I will do is I will do get all permissions. All right, yeah, get all permissions. So that will give us all permission, and now we have all permission in our this auth.js, and this condition will satisfy this, and that will include that. Okay, so now let's uncomment it. So now we are checking if it can manage user. So if everything is right, we should see user management. Yeah, there we go. So we can see user management, but the normal user cannot see. All right, so that's all for authorization.